A PCA, or primary caring adult as it's known, is an individual that's committed to having a supportive relationship with a youth in foster care age 16 or older that's going to continue beyond case closure. In fact, the PCA is committing to a lifelong relationship with that youth.
When they age out at 18 or even 21, it's very scary for them.
It was important for me to have a PCA because most kids don't leave their home at 18 years old, and here I am about to be on my own, and I know that I'm going to need advice because I'm doing it for the first time.
So having that PCA as their go-to person, someone that they can call when there's challenges, when they're dealing with trials and tribulations, to get that support, to get that encouragement is really important.
I feel like a PCA would be really helpful to me now, even though I'm 22, I have a full-time job, I own my own home. So I mean, you'd think at this point, right, I'm all set, I don't need anything else, but it would still be really nice to just have somebody to talk to, have that mentor person where when I'm having a bad day or when I need help making a decision, just having somebody to call and give me that advice, share those really happy moments that happen in life. I think that's the role that a PCA would take in my life now.
The PCA youth relationship is different. The youth may or may not live with the PCA, and in situations that I'm aware of, sometimes if the youth does live with the PCA, it's often temporary until they can get back on their feet.
You don't have to financially support them. There's not a specific amount of time or energy that you have to give to that relationship, and you really have nothing to lose by doing it. And honestly, you're gonna find that you gain so much more than you give out of any relationship.
The PCA youth role can take many forms. I'm aware of PCAs who've taught youth how to drive, who've supported them when they went for their driver's test, helped them to get a job, provided a reference, advised youth on going to college, helped them with a FAFSA, been an emergency contact.
It could look like you picking that kiddo up once a month and going out to lunch, or just inviting them over to your house for holidays. Even that is huge.
There's really a lot of different things. It all depends on what that youth's interests are and what they're seeking help for.
When we went to go buy my first car, and I had absolutely no idea what I was doing, and she's bought in multiple cars in the past, so she had some knowledge, and she was able to support me through that experience and get me a car, and I couldn't have been more excited, and just be able to celebrate that moment with her it was special to me.
The PCA is approved by the court, and they're invited to attend hearings with the youth as a way of supporting them in that process.
I know that some people probably think of court as this big scary place where you go and you have to follow procedure exactly how it's set forth, but these hearings, they actually look a lot differently. You sit at a table. A lot of the time the judge comes down and sits with you, and they have a conversation with the youth and with yourself about what you being the child's PCA is about and what that might look like for you, and they really it's more of a conversation. It's very comfortable, nothing to really be afraid of.
It was helpful to have Amanda at the court hearings just because she's emotional support for me, and I know that if I hear something that I'm not going to like, that I'll be able to just express myself after freely with her and not be judged.
Sometimes it's somebody that was a former neighbor of that youth that sees that there's a role to play in the youth's development. Sometimes it's a former boss that might come forward, or a current boss, a teacher, someone that coached the youth. It's oftentimes somebody that knew the youth at some point in their lives. The youth is comfortable with that person, and that person understands the needs of the youth, both current needs and future needs. If you feel like you want to have this youth in your life, and you see yourself as being a part of their life, for the duration, and you feel that you can, be helpful, then that's why you would become a PCA. If you're not sure, if you feel like it's maybe a temporary thing, until they get out of foster care, that's great. We certainly want caring adults to help our youth, but we want this primary caring adult to be committed, for a lifetime, because that's what these youth need. They need a lifetime commitment, and it may not always be intense. Sometimes the youth might be in crisis, and the PCA might be in contact with them a lot. Other times, though, that youth may be doing their own thing and not have a lot of contact. The key is that the PCA is always there to, on the other end of the phone, through thick or thin, to be that go-to person for the youth, because when it comes down to it, hopefully everyone has at least that one person in their lives that they can turn to in good times and in bad. If you're interested in being a PCA or you just want to hear more about it, please contact the DCYF Adolescent Worker nearest to where you're living. The contact information will be on the link that you'll see here.